What if, without warning, you suddenly woke up in a city you've never seen before? The morning feels peaceful. The air is warm. A gentle breeze moves through the streets. Children hurry towards school with smiles on their faces. Shopkeepers sweep the sidewalks before opening for business. Streetcars quietly roll through the city. Office workers greet each other, as if today were just another ordinary Monday. Nothing feels unusual. Nothing feels dangerous. In fact, it feels like one of the most beautiful mornings you've ever experienced. Curious, you stop a man walking by. "Excuse me, where am I?" He smiles politely. "Hiroshima." Your heart skips a beat. Maybe it can't be that Hiroshima. Trying to stay calm, you walk toward a nearby newspaper stand. You unfold today's paper. Suddenly, your hands freeze. August 6th, 1945. Every sound around you suddenly feels different. The children laughing. The families opening their shops. The friends greeting one another. None of them know that in less than an hour, history will change forever. If you enjoy experiencing history as if you were actually there, subscribe to Nullframe Studios, because every week, we'll travel to another unforgettable moment in history. Today, you're about to witness one of the most important days of the 20th century. This is Hiroshima. You fold the newspaper slowly, still hoping you've somehow read the date wrong, but no matter how many times you look, it never changes. August 6th, 1945. You take a deep breath and look around once more. The city is full of life. Children race each other across the sidewalks. Shopkeepers laugh with their first customers. A streetcar rattles gently through the city center. Bicycles pass by one after another. Nothing about this morning feels unusual. And that's exactly what makes this moment so difficult to understand. Because you already know something that no one else here does. Hiroshima wasn't an empty military base. It was a living city. Before the war, more than 300,000 people called this place home. Families built their lives here. Students filled the classrooms. Doctors opened their clinics. Shopkeepers welcomed familiar faces every morning. Soldiers were stationed here. But the overwhelming majority of the people around you were ordinary civilians trying to live ordinary lives. Looking around, it's almost impossible to believe that in just a short time, history will remember this city forever. But right now, to everyone around you, today is simply another Monday morning. As you continue walking through Hiroshima, something begins to feel strange, not because the city looks damaged, but because it doesn't. By the summer of 1945, World War II had already devastated much of the world. Entire cities had been reduced to rubble. Millions of lives had been lost. Yet here, Hiroshima still feels surprisingly untouched. Shops are open. Schools are operating. Streetcars continue moving through the city. Life goes on. At first, you might think Hiroshima was simply lucky. But the truth is far more complicated. Hiroshima wasn't just another city. It was one of Japan's most important military centers. Soldiers passed through here. Supplies moved through here. Military commanders worked here. The city sat between mountains and rivers, making it a major transportation hub. Which raises an unsettling question. If Hiroshima was so important, why hadn't it already been heavily bombed? The answer was because military planners wanted the city intact. Not for protection, but for observation. Hiroshima had become one of several cities being closely studied as possible targets. Most residents had no idea. They simply noticed that their city seemed safer than others. Air raid warnings came and went, but large-scale destruction never arrived. Some people even started believing Hiroshima might escape the war altogether. Looking around, you can understand why. Children still laugh. Business is still open. Families still make plans for tomorrow. Nobody realizes that the very reason their city remains untouched is the reason history is moving toward them. And high above the Pacific Ocean, preparations are already underway for a mission unlike anything the world has ever seen. The morning continues, as if nothing unusual is about to happen. By now, the city is fully awake. Children hurry into their classrooms, laughing with friends. Teachers prepare their lessons. Shop owners sweep the sidewalks, arranging fresh goods outside their stores. Office workers cross bridges on their way to work. Cyclists weave through the streets. Streetcars continue their familiar routes. Every corner of Hiroshima feels alive. Looking around, it's almost impossible to imagine that this peaceful city is about to become part of history. Even the weather seems perfect. The sky is bright blue. Only a few small clouds drift overhead. The summer sun shines warmly across the rooftops. There are no explosions, no panic, no warning that seems different from any other day. Occasionally, an air raid siren sounds in the distance, but the people barely react. They've heard these alarms before. Most of the time, nothing happens. Life simply continues. You glance at your watch. Every passing minute makes your heart beat faster. You know exactly what time it is, and you know that somewhere beyond those peaceful clouds, an American B-29 bomber is already approaching Japan. The people below have no idea. Children continue studying. Parents continue working. Friends continue laughing together. The city has no reason to be afraid, because nobody has ever witnessed what is about to happen. In just a few minutes, the world will enter the atomic age, and Hiroshima will become the first city in human history to experience the power of an atomic bomb. 1 minute, just one ordinary minute, separates Hiroshima from the moment that will change history forever. You look around one last time. A mother adjusts her child's school uniform. A cyclist pedals across the bridge. Workers disappear into office buildings. A streetcar rings its bell as it rounds the corner. Nothing feels different. Nothing feels dangerous. Then, at exactly 8:15 a.m., someone looks up, high above the city. A single silver aircraft glides silently across the blue sky. It's flying much higher than most people have ever seen. Because of its altitude, very few pay attention. Some assume it's another reconnaissance plane. Others don't even notice it. There are no fighter escorts, no massive bomber formation, just one airplane. Inside that aircraft, 12 men continue their mission. They have spent months preparing for this moment. The bomb beneath them has already been armed. There is no turning back. Below, nearly every person continues with their morning routine. Children study. Doctors treat patients. Shopkeepers welcome customers. Families prepare lunch. No one realizes that history is only seconds away. Then, at exactly 8:15, the bomb is released. The bomb begins its silent fall. There is no whistle, no roar, no warning. For 43 seconds, it falls toward the city below. The people of Hiroshima continue their lives, completely unaware. Then, at exactly 8:15 and 17 seconds, everything changes. A blinding white flash fills the sky, brighter than the sun itself. For an instant, shadows are burned into walls. The temperature near the center rises to thousands of degrees. People instinctively cover their eyes. Many never understand what they are seeing. Then comes the shock wave. Buildings begin to collapse. Windows explode outward. The streets disappear beneath dust and debris. The city that had been full of laughter only moments ago is suddenly swallowed by chaos. You lose your balance. The ground shakes beneath your feet. A wall of hot air rushes past you. Every direction is filled with dust. You can barely see a few meters ahead. The sounds of the city, have been replaced by confusion, and before the dust has even settled, Hiroshima has already changed forever. For several seconds, you hear almost nothing. Your ears ring. Dust fills the air. The bright morning sky has disappeared. Everything around you feels unfamiliar. You slowly stand, trying to understand what just happened. The streets you walked only minutes ago are almost impossible to recognize. Buildings have collapsed. Fires begin spreading from every direction. Thick black smoke rises into the sky. People begin calling for their families. Others wander in complete shock. Many have no idea where they are. Roads are blocked by fallen debris. The city has become silent, except for distant cries for help. You try to walk forward, but every street reveals another scene of destruction. There are no emergency crews. No one understands what weapon has just been used. The survivors can only help one another. Above the city, a massive cloud begins rising higher and higher. The world has just witnessed something completely new. An entire city, changed forever, in less than 1 minute. Somehow, you're still alive. You take a slow breath. The air burns your lungs. Smoke covers the city. The streets you knew only hours ago no longer exist. Survival becomes your only priority. Fires continue spreading. Buildings continue collapsing. Thousands of people begin walking toward Hiroshima's rivers. Water has become the only place that feels safe. Along the riverbanks, complete strangers begin helping one another. Survivors carry the injured, share what little water they can find, search endlessly for missing family members. There are almost no hospitals left. Many doctors and nurses were caught in the explosion themselves. Organized rescue is almost impossible. The people of Hiroshima become each other's only hope. But the explosion was only the beginning. In the days that followed, thousands of survivors who appeared uninjured suddenly became sick. Hair began falling out. High fevers appeared. Unexplained bleeding started. No one understood why. The world had never witnessed radiation sickness before. Doctors searched desperately for answers, but there were none. By the end of 1945, around 140,000 people had lost their lives as a result of the bombing. Families disappeared. Entire neighborhoods vanished. Yet somehow, Hiroshima refused to disappear. The people rebuilt, one street, one home, one school at a time. Today, Hiroshima stands once again as a thriving city, not as a symbol of destruction, but as a symbol of peace. Every year, on August 6th, the city falls silent. Bells ring, lanterns float across the river, and millions remember the lives forever changed that morning. Hiroshima reminds us that history isn't only about war, it's about the people who survived it, and the responsibility to ensure it never happens again. History is more than dates, more than battles, and more than the decisions of world leaders. It's about ordinary people who suddenly found themselves living through extraordinary moments. Hiroshima reminds us that even after unimaginable tragedy, hope can survive, communities can rebuild, and peace must never be taken for granted. Thank you for experiencing this journey through history with us. If you enjoyed exploring the past as if you were actually there, subscribe to Nullframe Studios. Every week, we'll step into another defining moment in history to discover what it was really like and ask one simple question: what would you do if you were there? Until next time, stay curious and never stop learning from history.